Welcome to the Inside Track on Real Estate with the Dekker Team. And I'm Ken Dekker.
And I'm Yetta Dekker, and you have heard that lots of times, I bet, by now.
Yes.
So thanks for continuing to indulge us and listen to that. And if you haven't seen the show before, we are excited that you are joining us, whether it is on air, on CHRI, on radio, and you can find shows, lots of archive shows there, or at dekkerteam.com.
Mm-hmm. You can even find them on YouTube.
You can. There's lots of them there, over 100.
Yes.
So anything. And so this show is called?
Well, this is a tongue twister because it's about everything real estate.
Right.
And it's not just about selling a house or buying a home.
That's right. Real estate's much more than that. And so we wanted to touch a little bit on aspects of real estate. Little bits of them have maybe been covered in previous shows. One or two of the topics have even been featured on a show. And yet this is a collaborative effort, a whole bunch of a collection of things that is everything real estate. Mm-hmm. And the first is from a team strategy perspective or a strategic alliance partners. When we help a client, whether it is buying a home or selling a house or a piece of land or a commercial property or an investment property, it doesn't really matter what kind of real estate it is, we have established really awesome network of strategic alliance partners. Mm-hmm. And things like a great banker, a great mortgage lender, a great inspector, both for rural property as well as city property. We have relationships with more than one in each of the categories sometimes, and lawyers, and sometimes only one in a category because that's really the best in the industry for that specific thing. The house doctor around environmental issues in a house. Mm-hmm. Anything to do with the actual transaction, I would call the strategic partner network. And so if you already have somebody that services you in that way or cares for you that you have a relationship with, we always want you to continue to work with them. Yep. And if you don't have somebody, know that we've got your back. Mm-hmm. That's really the point of this. And we actually will facilitate even booking the appointment for the inspectors, making sure it works with the seller's schedule, your schedule as the buyer, the inspector, our schedule as a realtor, because one of us likes to be there to ensure we can handle those awkward things that maybe need to be handled at an inspection, or reiterate something that maybe was confusing or not positive, or even relay the information to the third party that needs to know the information, the seller or the other agent, as the case may be. Yeah. So we make sure we get that structured for you so you don't have to worry about that. Also, what documents goes where. With your strategic partners, we make sure, and whether there's somebody you introduce us to or we introduce them, we will still facilitate getting the right forms and the right documents to the right party so you don't have to really get worried about or engaged with that part of the process. And that's an extra that we do that I think most don't. And I know when I first started doing it, it was out of desperation. Because one day I got a call from my client. I'm saying, are we ready to firm up on conditions? And she said, well, I haven't heard from my bank yet. And I said, oh, why not? So we called the bank to find out that the client didn't know or had forgotten or thought they had sent the information. And so I said, okay, that's never going to happen again. That was probably 24 years ago. We'll ensure that they get the documents as needed in a really timely fashion. Mm-hmm. Even ordering a status certificate. If you don't get the documents to a lawyer with a condominium in a timely fashion, then that doesn't get ordered. Mm-hmm. And then you're in big trouble. Mm-hmm. So that part of the real estate journey can be really made simple because of the strategic partners.
Yes, and also the processes and the checklists that we've created and the support staff that we have, because we're out on the road a fair bit serving you. We're not necessarily back at the office shuffling paper and sending to the lawyer and sending to the mortgage person and arranging the appointment for the, if it's got a septic and a well and a home inspection. There's 3 different inspections that have to happen.
There might even be a 4th. We might do water potability as well, and so that may be a different person. And maybe we need a environmental inspection, so now we've got 5. And so sometimes there's 5 or 6 that we're dealing with.
And then sometimes the inspector will bring up something. Oh, a pool inspection, yes. And sometimes the inspector will bring up something that we now need a professional in that field, because a home inspector is a generalist. They're taught to look for defects in the properties, but general defects. When they find one, they don't necessarily know what the cost might be to repair it or what the solution is for that defect. So we might call in a furnace company or electricians, ESA
Plumbers.
inspectors, plumbers, all
Foundation.
kinds of people, foundation people. And so when you're in the middle of a transaction where you're attempting to purchase a home and there's some hiccup, it's important that we have an arsenal of support people that you can draw on.
And they're what we would call our service providers, or our B team. So they're not the ones that are necessarily involved in every transaction, like the A team, the strategic partners. They would be folks that we would call on not as frequently, however we would call on.
Yeah.
And they're there to help you as well and get your back. And because almost all the ones we work with, whether it's our furnace guy or our fireplace man, or anybody that's doing specific things, they're folks that we've personally worked with often, because we often test them out on our own homes first,
Yes.
our own properties, so that we know the experience that you're going to get. And so it's kind of neat because we built in a layer of accountability to them. Even our granite guy, he's amazing.
Yeah.
And he's done a lot of stuff in our house, so I know whether they're on a timely fashion. I know how they do their seams, and their joins and that kind of thing, and what kind of care they take.
Yeah, and they also know that if they mess up, they're not messing up with one client, they're messing up with a stream of referrals that comes continuously year after year. And so there's a higher level of accountability. I know recently we had a client that wasn't too happy with the responses she was getting, and as soon as you got involved, she got the responses she wanted very quickly. And so we'll even come back in around on the back end if you're not getting the level of service that you believe you should be getting.
And we believe you should be getting.
Then we'll go to task for you on your behalf. So
and we have the ability to do that because there's a relationship. Whereas if it's somebody I didn't know, then it's very difficult for me to, I'll still do it. It just may not be as effective.
Right.
Right? And so those are a couple things that are just really important to know in relation to a real estate transaction, how we've got your back.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that go on in the background. There's probably, I think I did a list once, it was about 158 different tasks that a realtor that's looking after you will take care of that kind of happen seamlessly. You don't actually know that they're happening. There's the odd one where you get a piece of paper or something, you have to sign something, so you recognize that the realtor did something. But there's another probably 130 items of the 158 that are done in the background that you don't even know are happening.
Right, and that's why we've chosen not to be solo realtors. Because back 25 years ago, I was a realtor and took care of all of those things by myself. And the challenge with that is I was attempting to be all things.
You had a lot of hats on.
I can't imagine installing my own sign today or having to take my own lock
I
boxes
can't imagine
off.
that either.
No, I can't either. I did it though. I used to have gouges in my feet. They would bleed. I dropped the sign on my foot instead of in the.
I believe that.
Yeah, I did. Anyway, so nice to be able to have a team where everybody's specializing in their specific thing, whether it be marketing or whether it be getting the documents where they need to go in a timely fashion. So that's just a really neat layer of professionalism.
Yeah, and the client actually gets a better experience. They get the
way
Dekker
better.
Team experience. The emphasis on the team.
Right.
Each person knows their role and things run smoothly when
And the checklists have all been developed based on things really that didn't work over the years, right?
Yeah.
If something would go south, I'd run back in here and add another item to the checklist.
Yeah.
Generally speaking now, when we're delivering the for sale sign, we're also delivering the sold sign so that it sits in the property, so that the day we get the fulfillment on the property, we're able to call our client and say, yeah, can go install the sold sign.
Yeah, and they're usually very excited to do it. They
They're
like
thrilled.
to take pictures with the family around
Throw them
the
on
sold sign.
Facebook and have
Yeah.
fun with it. And so that way they can get that instant gratification of seeing the sold sign up there.
Yeah, they don't have to wait for one of our crew to drive
Or
out
one of
there.
us to drive out to visit with them. And we love to do that too. However, there's that sense of quickness that is important to folks. So that's,
Efficiency.
well, but also it's the energy and the excitement.
Yeah.
They don't care about the efficiency. I like that part.
I
but
think
the
it's more
client
fun
really,
for them to put it up
Yeah.
than to just drive home and see a sold sign there.
Yeah,
That's
it's not-
exciting too, but it's not the same thing as having
No.
the family involved with putting the sold sign up.
Yeah, so that's awesome. And so another feature or another thing that we can offer to our clients is introductions to other realtors around the world.
Yeah. Yeah, Keller Williams is actually global. We're in many, many countries now. And it doesn't even matter if there's a country that doesn't have a Keller Williams. We can still locate the right realtor for you. We actually call them, interview them, and make sure they're going to give you the level of service that we would expect if we were going there, so that you're getting that introduction and they understand your wants and needs. So
and we already have amazing relationships with many realtors in many cities throughout Canada and the United States, where we don't have to go through the interview process, because we did that 5 clients ago or 10 clients ago, where we already know who they are and they know who we are. So again, we're building in that level of accountability. So you're actually further ahead to connect with us if you're moving to another city, or even if a family member is buying and selling a home in Calgary, for that matter. If you know that that's happening, get a hold of us and we'll develop the relationship on their behalf with the realtor, and probably have one where we're just doing an introduction. And that allows us to be involved, because without that introduction, we can't stay involved. We can't be part of the equation. So it's a huge benefit to anybody that is thinking of buying or selling a home anywhere, if they don't already have a great relationship with a realtor.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it's a scary thing, just picking one out of the yellow pages or from an ad or whatever without an introduction.
Yeah,
it can
we've
be
done
scary.
it so often, and it's such I think a thing that isn't even thought of as a service that we can provide. So that's why the show's Everything Real Estate. So here's another little piece, real estate anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And we can get involved with.
Now, Yetta, what about new construction?
Well,
because a lot of times people just go wandering into an open house, or there's a site trailer, or there's site houses that there, because they want to go see them. They want to see what the models look like, what the floor plans feel like, and get an idea on price. But many times our buyers will go directly to the builder without a realtor. That works, but what are some of the
it's unfortunate
problems with that?
Yeah.
Why unfortunate? Why is it unfortunate?
It's unfortunate because once you've gone into the sale site, then you can't have your realtor that is your representative there with you any longer. So they are not there to protect your interest if you do not allow them the opportunity, don't afford them the opportunity to come with you at the very first introduction. So you can look online, just don't register. You can look at pictures, you can look at floor plans, you can usually get some pricing ideas online. And then if it looks like it's of interest to you, the best thing you can do for yourself to actually service you is to take your realtor with you to that initial viewing appointment. Because they know what questions to ask. We've done this, we've been new home warranty builders ourselves, we've built new homes, we've facilitated hundreds of transactions with new home sales sites, whether it be custom sites or the more tract homes in Canada, Barrhaven, Orleans, Hunt Club, and Kemptville for that matter, Osgood, Greeley, anywhere where you've got a site trailer and a sales office, and or the smaller builders where it's more custom construction. So we have facilitated everything across the whole spectrum, from selling houses from plans on the hood of my car when there was not even roads in the subdivision yet.
That's right.
So what that does is it brings an understanding of what maybe will benefit you and what won't. And one example that we've been able to help our clients with so often is the premium lot.
Yeah, is it really worth it?
Does it actually translate to a premium at resale time? Or was it simply that it cost the builder more to put that fencing up behind the property?
For the school
or whatever it is. And so those are things where we're looking out after your best interest. Also, even in the selection process, we know which upgrades are worth paying the builder for and which upgrades aren't worth paying the builder for.
What floor plan is going to have a better resale ability than another floor plan? All kinds of things. The other thing to bear in mind is that as a realtor representing you, we don't really care which builder you buy from. So we have your interest at heart.
As long as it's one that serves you.
Yeah, we're going to look for the best builder. When I say we don't care, when you go see the builder site, they only have one builder to sell. It's them. So they care that you buy their product. Whereas when you're working with a realtor and we're taking you into the different sites, we have an objective view of which builder might be best for you, whether it be the amount of upgrades you want, maybe it's the location, one builder will have a certain set of lots that are available to them. Another builder will have a different set of lots that are available to them.
Even in the same area.
Even in the same subdivision.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of research that goes into it, and you can draw on our 25 years of experience that you
pretty much
Ed has
each,
had,
and you've had over 20.
Over 20 years.
So we're not calling you a baby anymore.
No.
No. And even our children that are in the industry with us, they've been in and around the industry for 25 years, and they both have about a half a dozen years experience now. Anyway, firsthand in the industry. So we've all built homes. We've all taken homes down to bare studs. So lots of renovation projects and all that sort of stuff for everybody in the family that's in the business. So they can really bring some understanding to the whole process as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's new construction. Then there's...
And what about, if you're just joining us now, before we move on to the next thing.
Go ahead and do that.
We're talking today about everything real estate, and Ken is so excited about all the different things we get to talk about that he wants to move on fast. Anyway, if you want to hear about service providers, strategic alliances, introductions to realtors around the world, or new construction, you want to go to the first half of the show. And otherwise, stay tuned, and we'll cover some more great topics in the second half.
Mm-hmm. So we're Ken and Yetta Dekker of the Dekker Team, and this is the Inside Track on Real Estate.
And today it's everything real estate.
And we're glad you're joining us.
Yes, we are.
So for sale by owners is an interesting category. A lot of our buyers who are working with us to find a home, if we can't find a home on the MLS that's really beautiful, matches their criteria, sometimes we end up moving towards the for sale by owner, or the client may drive by one and find it.
Or we may find it.
Yeah, sometimes we find it. So we can work with them as well, provided we're the one that introduces you to that for sale by owner. Many, many times, probably in the high 90%, the seller, the for sale by owner, will pay us our commission fee for negotiating and bringing the contract together for both parties.
And then our buyer often does better because we're able to give them a true understanding of the value of the home. And so you're not just getting caught up in the moment. We're actually, again, subjectively helping you understand the value and making sure you're not overpaying for the property. Mm-hmm. And the challenge often, and this is not true across the board for everything, often when a home is for sale privately, it is not priced as in the market as those that are on the MLS. And that sounds contradictory to what you'd expect, because you'd expect if they're saving some fees that they're passing that along to the buyer. And yet often our home is our palace and our castle. And so therefore we often, as individuals, have an inflated view of the value. Mm-hmm. And so often they are not priced where they need to be. And so we'll often take our buyers into those homes, and the value, it just doesn't stack up. And people really are more inclined to put an offer in on a property that's well priced, a reasonable offer, than they are to put in a low priced offer on a home that is not priced in the market. Doesn't mean you're always going to get a fair offer, but certainly that's a rule of thumb that seems to play out again and again and again in the industry. Mm-hmm. And if you are somebody that wants to sell your home privately, recognize that there's 4 types of buyers.
Yep.
Right? And you're primarily going to attract 2 of the groups of buyers, because generally speaking, for a buyer, the cost of our service is free to them.
Yeah. So what are the 4 types of buyers?
Well,
come on, you left us hanging there.
I did, because it's kind of fun. See if you know them.
I know.
So the first type is that unfocused buyer. I mean, Ken likes to call them looky-loos. I don't know. Anyway, they're not motivated. They may look every spring. They may have looked the last 6 years and not bought a home, but they're out looking. And it's, they're probably not going to necessarily attach themselves to a realtor because they don't want to waste our realtor's time. Yeah. And often they'll say that. So they're certainly somebody that's going to go look at homes that are for sale privately because it feels like they're not bothering anybody. I don't know if you find that a bother as a for sale by owner, but certainly that would be one group of buyers.
Dropping into open houses.
And just seeing what's out there.
So what's the next type?
The next type is your investor. Your investor, and they're looking for a really good value. I mean, it might be 80 cents on the dollar, 70 cents on the dollar, but they're looking for something that is under market.
Mm-hmm. Somebody made a mistake. They put their house on too low because they didn't use the real estate agent services.
Yeah, because that happens too. Mm-hmm. We've helped a few of our buyers purchase homes like that were under market, being sold privately, and then we swooped in and helped them purchase it, and it was an awesome thing.
Yeah. And so those are 2 of the buyers that for sub-owners attract.
Right.
And then what are the other two types of buyers out there?
The one is the buyer that's in a hurry, that needs to buy. They're motivated. They need to buy. They may be in from out of town. They may have sold their home already. They are needing to buy a home, and they're needing to buy a home now. And that particular buyer is almost always going to have hired a realtor to help them, because they don't have the luxury of 6 months to find a home. They have the luxury of about a week. 5 days often. And so we've done a ton of legwork with them prior to them ever arriving.
And they need access to all the houses.
They need
access
access
to find a house quickly.
And they need a home that isn't tied up conditionally on another sale. They need something that they can actually buy, something that doesn't have a lot of conditions of purchase already in place from the seller.
So they're the qualified, motivated buyer,
Yeah.
right?
They're,
And then what's the fourth?
well, the fourth one is also qualified and motivated, but they're going to buy the home when it comes up on the market. They're
not
in the
in a
local
hurry.
area. They're not in a hurry. They're still motivated. They're still qualified. They're still great buyers. And they're likely also going to be working with a realtor to find that right home, because when they find the right home, they're ready to buy.
So they might be renting. So
Yeah.
they need to give their 2 months notice, or they might be living with family.
Right? Or they may not need to sell their home in order to buy one.
Right.
So
So
we're
they
gonna-
want a specific home. So they're looking for a specific type of home, and then they're going to put their house up for sale after they buy a house.
Right, and they're not concerned about the potential risk of owning both homes, because they're financially in a situation where that's not a burden for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's good news. The four types of buyers. Good.
Yeah.
All right.
And now one of the other things that we love to do with our clients, so moving on to another area, is our client celebrations. And that's really just about building community, hanging out together, having lots of fun, getting usually some free stuff, whether it's strawberries or apples or Christmas trees or that kind of thing. And it gives, what we've been watching is our clients an opportunity to build community with each other, with us and with each other. And so a lot of times, we just, at the last one we had in June at the strawberry farm, one of our clients in particular, it was kind of a neat meeting. They met an old friend of theirs they hadn't seen in 10 years, didn't know that we had helped them also buy a home. And so they actually are now back together again, having some visits and really enjoying each other's company.
Because they know where each other are, right?
Yeah.
Because they moved.
Yeah, they both moved from different cities, different provinces actually, and both ended up being helped by the Dekker team, and they didn't introduce us to each other, which often is the case as well. So we're thrilled for introductions from our clients as well. And then family traditions is the other thing that happens. Lots of our clients, we moved this year's event from the third week of June to the 4th because we didn't think there was going to be any strawberries in the field because of the wet spring we had. And so our strawberry expert that owns the farm that we host our event at said, let's move it, and we will never do that again. So you can be rest assured, even if you're going to be picking green strawberries, it will be the third Saturday in June from here on in.
People put it in their calendar a year in advance.
Exactly, and we had people the week before, quite a few, calling us saying, didn't get my invite yet. What's going on? Or a couple of weeks before. It's coming up. Like it should be. And we said that's because we haven't sent it out yet because we've had to move the date.
We moved it a week later.
So that is just a lot of fun for us, and it's, not necessarily a real estate conversation, but it's certainly connections that exist because of your real estate.
Now, another thing we do is workshops.
Yes.
Real estate type workshops. Some are wealth building with real estate involved. Some are workshops where it's designed for maybe a first-time buyer or maybe a buyer that hasn't bought in a long time. We'll have a mortgage broker there. We'll have a lawyer there. And so you can get all kinds of great information. So those are held, the buyer workshops are held on the third Thursday of the month. And the wealth building workshop is held on the second Thursday of the month. And so if you'd like to attend one of those, give us a call at the office at 613-860-4663, or you can send an email at info@dekkerteam.com.
And then another couple of workshops that we don't want to miss out on that have been hugely valuable for people is the one on financial fitness.
Right.
That is the fourth Thursday of the month.
And I guess it kind of has to do with real estate.
It has a lot to do with real estate because
people
often
get-
people are preparing to be able to buy a home, or
Yes.
they're figuring out how they can buy their next investment property and strategically make better use of their money. Create spending plans,
That's
create
true.
strategy. So it's an awesome workshop that we've been facilitating, actually the longest, about 10 years we got involved with that, maybe even almost 11 years ago.
And that happens on the fourth Thursday of each
Yep.
month. And then also on the fourth Thursday, it's not held by us, it's held by my company, our company.
Yeah, so that's,
And
it used to be you all the time.
It used to be me, but now I do the financial fitness one, and I'm not doing the other one. And that's a career in real estate. So it's all about real estate. And if you have ever had an inkling that you might like to be a realtor and do what we do,
yeah, we'd love to have you join our team.
Yeah, join our office, and we provide all the training.
Lots of it.
Once you get your real estate license, because that you have to go through a governmental licensing process.
Right.
Yeah, so we have a property that I'd love to talk about.
Well, just before you do that, I have to just quickly say another piece of Everything Real Estate is our community newsletter that we have been doing for over 20 years. Since 1989 it's existed, so that's over 25 years. I don't know. Anyway, really long time. So that is something we can give you by email that does give properties for sale as well as helpful hints on things to do with your home and community information. So if you'd like to get that, again, info@dekkerteam.com, and we will get you on that subscription list. Mm-hmm. Okay, now you can talk about your property.
Now talk about my property.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about. Just put a property on the market recently, and it's in Manotick Estates. Beautiful home.
Oasis of a backyard that's fully private.
An oasis of a backyard. They've spent approximately $125,000.
A lot of money. Yeah, a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Beautiful backyard.
Beautiful in-ground pool. Lots of interlock. It has a canopy roof that covers a big chunk of the interlock, which gives you shade, so you don't have to be out in the sun. Lovely fenced area. No back neighbors. On the side is a bungalow. So they can't actually peer over the backyard, because when you're in a two-story, your windows are up high, so you look down in your neighbor's backyard. In this particular case, it's a bungalow, so they can't do that. And it's a really private, beautiful backyard, gorgeous home, Brazilian cherry hardwood floors. And this is a unique kind of floor plan on this home. It has the master bedroom on the main level. It has a main floor laundry. And then on the second level, it has 3 bedrooms. 2 of them share an ensuite bathroom, so it's like a Jack and Jill bathroom. And the other one has its own ensuite bathroom as well. And then there's a big landing area, which can be a TV, games room, almost like a second floor family room to add to the other family room that's on the main floor. So very large home, huge entertainment type kitchen with granite. And I think even their island is bigger than our island, Yetta. You're going to have island envy when you see this home. Just really well maintained, stone front, brick on the sides. Gorgeous, gorgeous in Manotick Estates. Yours for just under $1 million, $950,000.
Well, to get under $1 million for something like that is amazing.
Yep, 3-car garage, big kind of almost not really circular driveway, but it does have a big
turning area.
Garden in the middle that you can turn around on. And it's wonderful. So if you'd like information on that or any other property, give us a call, 613-860-4663. And we're glad you joined us on the Inside Track on Real Estate.